So Madagascar, as far as its commerce and its level of development, they're still very third world, but they are more developed than people imagine. They have fairly, I mean, it depends on the part of town you're in, of course. I got to serve in some upscale areas and some not so upscale areas. And the upscale is usually what we'd imagine more of a lower scale America. I mean, their houses are not carpeted. You'll not touch carpet your entire mission. And it's just stone and cement. You have running water. You have a hot water heater. At missionaries, we get treated really well. I mean, we live like the French did when they conquered the island. So we get treated pretty well. As far as out on the town, transportation is super fun. They use buses. They call them taxi bays. It's like a here it would be probably like a 20 or 25 person bus, and they cram like 50 to 100 in there. I've seen buses crammed to the breaking point. I was actually on a bus once, and we were on the back of the bus, last people in, and we blew the tire. So that was fun, like a gunshot. And then they do use taxis as well. Taxis are of course more expensive, so missionaries usually stick with the cultural local transportation. Otherwise, we had bikes. I rode a bike for about 14 months. You don't get a car unless you're an AP or in a certain, like a zone leader in a certain area. So look forward to lots of walking or biking. Otherwise, I think that's basically transportation. Technology, missionaries use cybers. They call them a cyber over there. You just go there every Monday for P-Day and spend a little while. But they are technical. Most people will scrimp and save to buy a TV, and in order to have one, because it's what society tells them they need. So most everybody will have a TV, and government's fun. I had a pretty unique experience with this one too. I remember after a transfer, we came back from the main country after a 10-hour bus ride to our province. I had just gotten a trainee, and we had to get back to our house in this area. And I had to take a pousse-pousse, which is a bike, man-pulled bike cart. I don't know. It usually carries like 2 people. So we had myself, this other American, and our luggage on this cart, and we were going back to our home, and we passed the police checkpoint, and the guard wanted our papers, and I had mine with me, but my friend, the other missionary who just got transferred to the area, he didn't have his on him, and he didn't have anything. And so the cop either said, you need to pay me or you're going to jail. And so he took all my money off of me. So I mean, that's pretty common. So just keep your papers on you. Otherwise, like, education is pretty up to date. I mean, they're very French oriented with education. I would consider French their political language and world scale language. Malagasy, actually, as far as French is concerned, is a dying language, because French has become their commerce language, the language to get them off the island. And so, I mean, I would come into contact with natives that I would almost be better at the language than them, because they had been raised on French. And so, French is very important. They're raised on a French education basis, so they have they call them M. I think that means like level. So they start at different levels. They start at like the level 12 and work towards 1. So it's reverse from us, and then they get their bac. I think it means like baccalaureate. I don't know. It's there's some correlation there, but and then they go from high school, which would be getting their bac, and moving on to university. One of my stumbles with one was a traffic law. Riding a bike, you have to make sure you have a little buzzer thing on it. I got in trouble for not having one of those. And make sure you remember that cars turning left have the right of way. I went around a car turning left and got in a wreck, a bike crash, and the cop was really mad at me. I almost went to jail because I'd ran into a person, and it was my fault because I'd gone around the guy. So watch traffic laws. Otherwise, government is pretty non-existent. It's a very relaxed society. I mean, government mostly takes part in keeping them registered in school, but otherwise the churches really run the show, Catholic and Protestant churches. As far as currency, you get a very healthy stipend each month as a missionary. I mean, you can live off of it really easily. So, I mean, don't worry about that. Do recognize that, of course, missionaries aren't supposed to give money away. You'll get pestered for money all the time. If you're going to give something to someone, give food, or give. I used to carry a big pocket full of little candies that I'd give to the kids, and I mean, that loves it. They'll always remember you. The money itself is very unique. It's called Ari. It's a 2,000 to 1 exchange rate to the dollar. So 2,000 Ari is $1, and then it's another 500 to, let me see here, I get this right. They also convert it to francs. I mean, that's really elaborate, so I'm not going to worry about that, actually. I think it'd be easier just to learn that there. But they also use francs, so you get used to using the French with the French language with words and numbers especially, and their money, because they use the francs conversion. The natives lived very, very cheap. I mean, they usually spend, like I said, you get a healthy stipend, you get about 240,000 ariary. Or no, it was more, it was like 370,000 ariary or more a month. And these people are living off of, 100,000. So, I mean, you're living very well compared to them. So just keep that in mind. And I usually would try to live like a local would as best I could. I mean, eat their food, eat out. I mean, it's hard to eat healthy and eat out, but I mean, you're a missionary, so you've been prepared for this. They don't really use directions too much. They'll just say ari, which means like ari is to say over there. And so they'll use that to like suggest how far away it might be. Like they'll say ari, or they'll say ari, or ari, get like really far away. So those are unique things. You'll have a lot of fun with that. And I guess another thing with that is they don't use their addresses are very difficult, and so like working in the missionary field, you gotta use members. These houses are extremely hard to find. You'll get a referral, you'll meet someone on the street, they'll tell you where they live, kind of thing. They'll give you maybe a phone number, or you get a referral from someone. You need to take a member with you to help you find someone, or work through the local government, because they usually have registers of where people live.